Good evening, everyone. I am thrilled to be able to take a few minutes to welcome you to University High School. My name is Margaret Schultz. I am the assistant principal here at UHS. While this is my first year in Ferndale, this is my 22nd year in education, and I could not be more thrilled to have found my way to this amazing district, and specifically University High School. I'm going to tell you a little bit about UHS. It's a place where students are loved and cared for. We have a continued focus on educating the whole child, centering the needs of each student in decision-making, and focusing on social-emotional well-being. Restorative practices and social-emotional learning are core parts of who we are, and you can see examples of them throughout the building every single day. Over the last several years, we have worked diligently to expand opportunities, specifically in electives including art, yearbook, photography, movie making, design, and computer science. In addition, we continue to focus on ways to increase student engagement through the use of problem-based learning, which drives relevance alongside engagement. One of the priorities this year that we're really proud of has been a focus on ensuring that every single student has a plan for post-graduation, whether that be college, trade school, military, directly to a career. In partnership with Michigan State University College Advising Corps, we want our students to feel confident as they move from high school and into the real world. Our students have so many gifts, and we know that as they leave us, they will continue to make our world a better place. Thank you for being here tonight, for your continued support of Ferndale Public Schools, and I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, Ferndale Board of Education President, Sandra Dukey.
All right, so my job is to welcome everyone to Ferndale. If you're not from here, there's a few of you that are visiting, welcome. And I don't have a big prepared speech because my job is just to bring up the person who's leading our district right now and to really tell you the state of the district, where we're going, where we've been. If you have any questions, all of the board is here. They all have on those fancy jackets, but they match the people that are on the payroll with the fancy jackets. So if you're not on the payroll and you're on the board and you're here, please raise your hand. There's a couple more. Oh, they're back over there. And then also with us, there's a couple of elected officials like city, local governments. If you're here, can you raise your hand? So in that back corner, right here. And then we also have the ISD superintendent and assistant superintendent, so be on your best behavior. Dr. Cook Robinson and Mr. Gutman. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our interim superintendent, Camille Hibbler.
Thank you so much. Wow, I'm very excited to be here and to welcome you to our State of the District so we can tell you all the great things that have been happening in Ferndale Public Schools. Before we get started, I think it's very important that we ground ourselves as we begin to have a dialogue. So if you were not prepared to have a dialogue today, get ready. Okay, so we're going to ground ourselves and why we're here, okay? So obviously you were here, you came here with someone, some student, some group in mind. You're here to support someone that is related to Ferndale Public Schools. So in a second, you're going to turn to your neighbor and you're going to introduce yourself. Hi, my name is, and you're going to say, I'm here for, and share who or what group you are here for. So let me do an example. This is me modeling, okay? Hi, I'm Camille Hibbler, and I'm here for every student, every staff member, and every represented community in Ferndale Public Schools. Okay? Who has a question about what we're about to do? Go. So I hope that you met a new friend. I hope that you learned a little bit more about why that friend is here. Now we are grounded. And she is probably going to hate this, but I just saw the mayor of Ferndale walk in, and I'd like to welcome Rayline Leaks-May. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for being here, Mayor. So our strategic plan is what drives our work every single day in everything that we do. It is comprised of 4 components. The first being environment, which speaks about our human, fiscal, and building. We have excellence. Of course, it would be called excellence because we're talking about academics and beyond. We have empowerment, which is our communications and school culture and climate. And what I consider to be the most important, is the driving force of all that we do, which is equity. So today's presentation is going to speak a little bit about how we have charted the course with our strategic goals in mind. This would not be me if we didn't have some sort of additional grounding. So I'm talking about charting the course, and there's a specific way that I'm going to talk through this presentation. Raise your hand if you've ever done a compass points activity, north, south, east, west type of a thing. Very few. It's okay. I'm going to tell you how it works. Okay. So it is usually used as a personality quiz, but I'm going to talk about some of the highlights that we've done as it relates to the compass point. So north, okay? North is visionary thinking, and I'm going to talk to you about what our aspirations are. We've been doing a lot of aspiring, and we're going to talk about that a bit. We have south, which is self-awareness and reflection. And we're going to answer the question, how have we demonstrated open-mindedness, which is very, very important as a leader. We have, I'm going to mess this up. I tried very hard to make sure I knew my east from my west, but east, planning and, okay, thank you. East, seeking different perspectives. How have we generated creative solutions, which is also critically important as district leaders. And then planning and action, we're planning and we're making sure that we act and making sure that our strategic plan is in line with everything that we do. So we'll be answering the questions, what are our steps to achieving these goals? So as you're listening, think about the north, south, east, and west, okay? It will make sense in just a bit. Another important piece is I want to ground us in today we will be talking about October to today. The reason being is October is when the transition of leadership occurred, and that is when what we're talking about at this time. So October to present. Nothing wrong with September, nothing wrong with previous to September, but today we're sharing all of the highlights under this current administration, which began in October. So a quote that I think all of us can relate to is, as you make your way along life's tumultuous highways, it's important to note that you should always carry a map, have plenty of fuel in the tank, and take frequent rest stops. So our map, of course, is our strategic plan, and I'm going to outline how we have had many highlights along all of our strategic plan domains each month since we've been under this leadership. Here we go. October, equity. So equity is the foundation of everything that we do. The goals of the strategic plan will only be reached if their benefits are accessible to all members. So upon the transition of leadership, it was very important that we ensured that the leadership was accessible to all of our stakeholders. So we made the decision to split the leadership and do a reorganization, okay? We knew that it was important that we would be accessible to all of our stakeholders to ensure if there were questions about the transition, to make sure that we were in tune about what was happening in each of our buildings and with our students and all of our stakeholders, and very important, to address any issues promptly. We wanted to be present, and we made sure that we did that with a very speedy reorganization, which with me as the interim superintendent and Ms. Felicia Wright, who is our interim deputy superintendent, who you will hear from in just a bit. So here you will see our reorganization, and you'll notice that we split pretty even all of our departments, okay? We wanted to make sure that there was leadership that could provide support to continue to develop and continue the work towards our goals that we had begun already. So that was a very quick turnaround time where we did our reorganization to make sure that we were just that. November 2023, empowerment. It was very, very important that as we were transitioning, that the communication was clear, concise, transparent, and we were able to do two-way communication. So there was a number of listening conferences. We were behind the scenes working on an Aptogee app, which we'll talk about in just a second, but we wanted to make sure that we, along with being accessible, that we were communicating in a transparent way. Another piece that was very important is that we wanted to continue with the work that we had done around restorative practices and restorative strategies. So a quote that I found that really grounds in what we were focused on is, it says, either we spend time meeting children's emotional needs by filling their cups with love, or we spend time dealing with the behaviors caused from their unmet needs. Either way, we spend time. And we decided that it was important that we spend the time being proactive with our restorative practices instead of reactive. So one of the highlights I'd like to speak about is our director. This is a new position, the Director of Culture, Climate, and Athletics, who is providing support for our restorative practice facilitators as well as our coaches. We also, and you just heard from her, have a district trainer for restorative practices, which is Ms. Margaret Schultz, who provides support around continuing the important work around restorative practices. In addition to the restorative coaches and facilitators, we've had an opportunity to provide training from IIRP, which is the International, this is why you don't put acronyms in your presentation, International Institute of Restorative Practices. Thank you so much. And some highlights that we speak of is that because we have more who are trained, we are now able to facilitate restorative circles in a proper way so we can ensure that we are supporting both our students, and we've had an opportunity to do restorative circles with staff. In addition, one of the things that I'm most proud of is that with our disciplinary hearings that do happen, okay, they are facilitated as a restorative conversation versus just strictly punitive. So the agenda is set in a way that is restorative and empowering for all persons that are present. Aptogee, which is a new app that we are extremely excited to be launching very, very soon. But this is a new app that will be launched at the end of this school year. But behind the scenes, we have been doing much training. So training our secretaries, our leaders, ensuring that our teachers are able to utilize a communication app to ensure that we're able to continue, as I mentioned, those two-way communication strategies to ensure that we are able to interact with our stakeholders, interact with our families, and vice versa. We don't want to launch something that is not an effective means for communication. So the Aptogee app offers a centralized platform for communications between schools, teachers, and parents. Parent engagement, parents can stay informed with their child's progress, and we're really looking forward to that. So that work, laying the groundwork, has continued despite the changes, despite school happening, and we're very excited about ensuring that we're creating an evolving communication system. December brought a friend back to the Ferndale family, and we welcomed him with open arms, and that is Mr. Tom Shelton, who is our HR director. He, along with Alicia Wilson, our HR generalist, have done a magnificent job with rebuilding HR department, ensuring that we are able to have a quick turnaround time to ensure that we're getting highly qualified staff. We have the smallest amount of vacancies that we've seen all year at this time, and we're very, very proud of the diverse staff that we're bringing in to align with the excellence and accountability that we live every single day. January, getting close. January was the time that we had a flawless audit. And that was thanks to our Director of Finance, as well as her department that is led by Dawn Huntley. So it is critically important, and it states in our strategic plan that the criticalness of maintaining fiscal sustainability. And I'll say we want to ensure that all of the decisions that we're making with our finances are aligned to our students and our priorities. And I'm very proud that that has been happening. So as you can see, we have a healthy fund balance. And we have also done a lot of work with recreating our budget timeline to ensure that our leaders of all of our departments are able to be aware of how they can and how they should be using their budgets, and empowering them to make the decisions that they need to make with the priorities in mind. So you also see here a redeveloped budget timeline for this school year that we are using to facilitate those conversations with all of our department leaders. And certainly not least is February excellence. And excellence are academics and beyond. So what I like to highlight around academics is the excuse me, I'm sorry. So our curriculum adoption for our K-5 literacy program that has been facilitated largely by Ms. Tawanya Robinson, who is our Director of K-12 Literacy and MTSS, and ensuring that we have culturally relevant materials, high quality instructional materials in front of our students. And we are running a pilot program in our K-5 buildings right now that we're very proud of, and we're looking forward to ensuring that we have highest quality materials in front of our students, and that has been done and facilitated by the Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Department. In addition to those, to the curriculum adoption process, we also had the opportunity, thanks to our Board of Education, to continue our relationship with Panorama, which is our dashboard that we're using to monitor our interventions. We want to make sure that we're reaching all of our students. And if we aren't able to reach our students, we're able to monitor and support them specifically and intentionally. So we've been able to do that with the use of data through our Panorama platform to ensure that our MTSS processes are intact. So, remember, north, south, east, west, right? So what you heard, that was, I timed myself pretty quick, but we talked about visionary thinking, some of the aspirations we have, aptitude, okay, things like that, different perspectives. Of course, it would have been ideal to continue with the previous structure and leadership. However, we wanted to make sure that we were generating creative solutions. We did that. Self-awareness and reflection, looking internally, making sure that we are where we're supposed to be and doing the things that we need to do, and that is aligned with our North Star of our strategic plan. And then finally, planning and action, ensuring that we are actually acting in the way that we planned and ensure that we are doing just that. So, what I'd like you to do is, you don't have to take a picture of this just yet unless you want to, but as the presentation continues, what I would love for you to do is think about circle, square, triangle, okay? So as you're listening, please be thinking about 3 points that you'll take away from this evening, okay? What questions are circling with me? Because you might still have some questions you might want to follow up. And then what is something that you hear this evening that squares with your beliefs? If you do take a picture of the QR code, it's going to take you to our feedback form. It is up to you how you would like to utilize that, but I cannot express how important feedback is for us. It is a very critical data point, and we take data very, very seriously. So if you if you have the QR code and you see it, you'll see the feedback form, and you could use that to take notes as you're listening to the rest of the wonderful presenters, my dear colleagues that you'll hear from in just a second. But if you don't get this, don't worry, it's going to come at the end of the presentation as well. So again, I want to thank you for being here. I'm very, 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 I cannot tell you how excited I am to be here and have the opportunity to lead this district at this time as the interim superintendent. And with that said, I'm going to invite my dear colleague, Mr. Robert Tolbert, who is our Director of School and Community Relations and Public Pupil Accounting. Thank you.
When you follow your boss, you take it with a bit of humility. Thank you, Camille, for this introduction. Also, thank you for the opportunity, Camille, for us to share as leaders within the district, and thank the Board of Education as well. So to get started, what we'd like to do is we want to thank our teams. Each of us, we have teams that we work with as district leaders. So I'd like to introduce you to the team, and our acronym is SCRPA. And so when I started, I thought, it sounds like Scrappers, so we are the Scrappers, and I want to introduce them to you tonight. In the back of the room, we have Miss Nichelle Daniels, who's our enrollment specialist. Everybody say hi. We have Mr. Torrance Green, who is our coordinator for student services. He's our leader for the McKinney-Vento program. He's also leads the school-age child care program for us, many services. And I don't see Mr. Blakenbaker. George Blakenbaker is our pupil accountant, but we do have Jeremiah Sanders in the back there. You'll see him right there. He's our marketing specialist. And I'll be remiss if I didn't say on camera and to tell Jason Nauman how much we also thank him as a remote capacity. He's doing strategic communication work for us, and we've been able to retain him this year, and we also appreciate his work on the team. So Camille asked us about who we're here for, and just quite frankly, I was thinking, how do I say that with school community relations? I'm actually here for a kid named Makai. And I use him as a story to start because I was leading a middle school, as principal of a middle school, and Makai had been suspended. And he came back to school. He was one of those kids everybody knows he was, could use a little bit more restorative. But he was back and he was supposed to still be suspended. And so as, principals coming out in the office and the secretaries are like, why are you here? And they're doing all they need to do to keep that office in order. I looked at them and I said, well, you just walk with me, boy. Come on, walk with me. And we walked around the building and he just was walking with me and I'm speaking to the teachers, I'm helping the kids. And he goes, what you trying to do around here, Mr. Talbert? Make a community or something? And you know how something just enters you and you never will forget it, ever? And he told me, he used a word I never even said to him, never thought he would say. He said, I'm trying to build a community or something. So I'm titling this, we're building a community or something in honor of Makai. So what we do in school community relations, we're proud of a few key highlights, and I'm just going to share with you briefly about them. Number one is it's imperative that we implement district-wide communication protocols to streamline our communication and enhance our efficiency as a district. And that's what Interim Superintendent Hibbler mentioned about Apogee. Behind the scenes right now, we are transferring our web data over to a new platform that's going to be much easier to use, much more user-friendly for all staff to make those updates, and that'll be launching very soon. And behind the scenes of Apogee, there's a secondary tool, and I believe Interim Superintendent Camille was mentioning that two-way communication tool. We're very excited that that tool will dovetail with the website so that parents will have everything about Ferndale schools in one pocket. There won't be these multiple platforms where you're getting a message from this, a message for that. If you're gonna keep my face in the crosshairs for the messages you get, it's gonna be because of one application, and it's gonna be Apogee. So we're excited about that, and we'll launch that. We thought it's imperative. Leadership. Camille thought, well, let's not change anything with the way parents are communicated with mid-year. So structurally, we will change the website, and then after that, we will make the change with that two-way communication tool to launch in the fall. So we won't have any hiccups midstream. And parents can learn. And I even kicked an idea around having a communications orientation. And that way parents will know communication orientation, this is how it works here at Ferndale. Second point is collaboratively, we are creating community engagement opportunities that are inclusive and engaging. When I first started, I told the community that there's no community leader that can do the job without community support. So many of you have seen me at events. We've gone to coffee. We've had interactions. And I take those things very seriously because that's the only way we can establish authentic relationship. And being an outsider coming in, I think it's important that I do that. So I laid that foundation, and the board said, well, that's good, but put some more rigor around that, those relationships. So we will be launching community stakeholder parent advisory group that will meet with me primarily to help advise the district on different changes we're making and different thoughts, a think tank, if you will, of parents and community leaders. So that's something I'm looking forward to launching this spring. I actually sent out an invitation in one of our e-blasts, and we got some support. If you're interested, you can see me and talk to me about that. But I'm really procuring that or curating that committee so that it has diverse perspectives. It's not just because you apply. So, and we'll talk that through. And then finally, what my department does, everybody kind of set on a piece of my department there, which is our Ferndale Schools magazine, formerly known as The Local. This year we've rebranded it more specifically to say exactly what it is. So when it comes to your mailbox, you're not trying to, that's the Ferndale Schools magazine. We do that biannually, and that's something we're proud of. And we're going to continue to sell the strengths of our district to anyone who will listen. Another strategic change that we've made since I've joined the district is we've shortened the window of our school of choice applicants. And this is done so that we primarily give our residents the primary opportunity to enroll. And there's a lot of districts who leave the windows wide open, but we want to be a school district of choice, a competitive district, so that if you're going to come to Ferndale, you need to make that decision early and make it quick. So our window is in April 1st through April 30th, and we're proud of that. And then lastly, I'd just like to say our next step as a department, being a new department leader, you kind of inherit things as they are and you build. What we're going to do, and I'm grateful that Interim Superintendent Hibbler has allowed us to think about reorganizing our department and the way we do work within our department, because as you heard, it's a very broad umbrella of services that we provide. So with that, I'm just thankful for your time today. I hope, Makai, if you're going to look at this in YouTube, you're inspiration. And the kid was so funny because the secretaries, when you have a kid like that, they're like, "Here come your son." And so he would come in and he was like, "Since I was an inspiration to you, Mr. Talbert, can I hang my coat in here in your office?" And I said, "Go ahead, Makai, hang your coat in the office." So we're building a community thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to bring up Tom Mays, Interim Assistant Superintendent, Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment.
Well, thanks for coming. Great to see everybody out here tonight. I am honored and humbled to be serving as the Interim Assistant Superintendent for Ferndale Public Schools, Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment. This is my 33rd year in education, all 33 in Ferndale Public Schools, and I'm really proud of that fact. And I'm happy to be here sharing out some of what we do in curriculum, instruction, and assessment. But before I get into that, I do want to introduce our team. Mr. Derek Adams, Interim Director of STEM for Ferndale Public Schools. Ms. Taiwania Robinson, K-12 Director of Multi-Tiered Systems of Supports and Literacy. Ms. Siobhan Holt was not able to be here. She is our administrative assistant, and we're thankful for all that she does for us. So as I mentioned, curriculum, instruction, and assessment. Assessment's really not a bad word. A lot of people want it to be or think it should be. It's not when done the right way. And one of our goals as set forth in the strategic plan is to have a more balanced assessment program across the district. Now, what does that mean, a balanced assessment program? How many of you remember having tests every 3 or 4 weeks where you had to cram the night before? That's not a balanced assessment program, okay? Balanced assessment program consists of what are called formative or informal assessments that happen frequently throughout a unit or course of study. And of course, we still have our summative assessments. But when you put all of those together, you have a more balanced assessment program. And particularly in the elementary buildings, and we're going to shout out all of lower and upper elementaries right now. They have really done a great job in literacy of building a balanced assessment program. And we really saw the results last year with the M-STEP scores. We had some of our highest M-STEP scores ever in the elementary buildings, and that was really due to the balanced assessment approach in literacy. So yeah, definitely, nice job. So we want to build upon that across the entire district, and in time we will, but we want to do it the right way. So our next step will be to expand to middle school literacy and build a balanced assessment program at Ferndale Middle School next year. Okay. Second bullet that I want to talk about, is aligned to our strategic plan goal of multi-tiered systems of support, and in particular, universal design for learning. Okay? Now, if you're not familiar with MTSS, there are typically 3 tiers. Well, not typically, there are 3 tiers, right? Tier 1 is classroom instruction. And before we worry about interventions, we want to make sure that our classroom instruction is rock solid. And that's where UDL comes in, Universal Design for Learning. This year we have a team of math teachers starting in elementary and going up through the high school level, working with Oakland Schools consultants. Thank you very much, Oakland Schools. And they've met multiple times throughout the year, learning about UDL and implementing UDL, going into each other's classrooms to observe and learn more about the practices of UDL. So we're super excited about that. And we're equally excited to announce that next year, all of our middle school and high school math teachers will be receiving training in UDL. And we will extend that invitation to other teachers and other departments, teachers who want to be part of the journey. We're going to welcome them aboard. But we're really going to focus on that secondary math team. Okay. Final bullet that I'm going to talk to you tonight about is culturally responsive teaching. A few years ago, as a district, we did a book study on Zaretta Hammond's book, Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain. Throughout the years, we've kind of referred back to that as kind of a marker, things that we want to aspire to. And we realized last year that we've kind of gotten away from bringing our new staff on board with CRT. So last year and this year, we've gone back to culturally responsive teaching in the brain and done book studies with all of our new staff to make sure that when they enter the classroom or they go to their staff meetings, they have the same knowledge base that their colleagues do on CRT. And kind of in that same line of thinking, realizing that, it's been 5 or 6 years since we did that book study district-wide. It's time to revisit that book so that we can make sure that not only the new teachers, but everybody, whether you're brand new or you've been here for a while, it's good to have reminders. So next year, we will be revisiting CRT in the brain as a district, especially the strategies that are pointed out by Zaretta Hammond in Chapter 8. Okay? So those are just 3 highlights of what we're doing in CIA. Lots more going on, and we're excited to continue working with your students. Sorry, I should have started with my who. Sorry, I'll end with it. My who is all of you. Your students, the teachers, the principals, anybody who's involved with education, the business department, CIA is here for all of you. And thank you for being here for us tonight. And with that, we're going to turn it over to the wonderful Stephanie Hayes.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, all right. It's a little taller. I'm a little shorter than Robert. Good evening. Nice to see you all here today. I'm Stephanie Hayes, Director of Special Education. Been in special education as an educator and leader for 25 years. Just came to Ferndale in August of 23, so fairly new to Ferndale schools, but extremely excited to be here. It kind of ties with the ask of the why that we're all here, and my why is because I wanted to contribute to a district in the ways that I can to help support inclusive and equity and diversity amongst our students, our community, and our staff. I came here from being a director for 10 years in another district, so it was intentional, and my efforts here is my why. I want to help create better environment for all of our students, whether they have a disability or not. That is part of my why. So I'm excited and honored to be here as your Director of Special Ed. Additionally, I have some wonderful people that help support me and our department. I'm really excited to introduce two individuals. Tamara Foster, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, is our administrative assistant, who handles everything you can think of for special ed, including every paper and document that you can imagine. And also a lot of technology and data entry, and you name it, she does it. So I just want to thank her and make sure she gets her recognition. So Tamara Foster. Also, I'm very, very appreciative and honored to have Valencia Cade as our special education supervisor, who is sitting over here to my left. Valencia has been extremely valuable in transitioning myself here to Ferndale, even though she's a year and a half in here in Ferndale, but many years in special education, and I look forward to our ongoing leadership together. So thank you, Valencia. Okay, so talking about our special education department, just a little bit about our department. We're probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest department in the district. I have over 50 professional staff, 40 paraprofessional staff that are committed and dedicated to all students each and every day. Their commitment to the work that we do in special education is above and beyond anything that I have seen in my time. So I'm very proud that I have started to build those relationships with them since August, and I look forward to the ongoing work that they do day in and day out for our students with disabilities and many others. So I just want to make sure we recognize them as well. As we move forward, Camille has asked for us to share just a few things that we have accomplished or been working on. Yes, it is still new and since August, so bear with me because my head is in year 5 and I'm actually in month 6 or whatever it is, but that's just how I roll. One of our opportunities as a department is to help with professional development and creating inclusive opportunities and teaching and learning for all students. So we work really hard on Crisis Prevention Institute, co-teaching. So professional development, we've had opportunities to do professional development and co-teaching, working on and teaching and learning about students with autism, behavior management interventions and strategies. We have trainers on staff that are extremely willing and able to support throughout the district. We're working on extending our next steps, are working further with our paraprofessionals who are day in and day out important in every aspect of our children's lives in the school environment. And we want to continue to provide them with professional development. So we're extremely happy to have them joining us this year and moving forward to ensure that they get, and all of our principals and also our transportation department. So we have a lot of plans for continued professional development. The list goes on. And we are up for the challenge and ready to help contribute in that way to support all of our students. The second opportunity that we've had so far this year is looking at our programming and for students with disabilities. And in that process, we have to look, listen, and learn so that we can see what the current status is before we make any sweeping or big changes, right? We got to take things one step at a time. In that process, we're looking forward to looking at how we can help build schedules and programming and class opportunities that ties to student interest, student strengths, as well as capitalizing on things that they want to do for their future so that we have all contributed to successful outcomes for all of our students. Including opportunities for their students to have access to the curriculum on a regular basis daily, and also access to our same age peers in the what's called least restrictive environment, which is a guiding principle for all of us that follow the special education laws provided by us. And we live by that. Looking at the last component to share for tonight is focusing on looking at our multi-tiered system of support. we contribute to that effort, working with the curriculum department. We want our teams contribute to interventions and strategies in the buildings. We also are excited to engage in use of the, approved panorama program that we'll have for the next school year. So we're really excited about that. Also aligning our professional development with the curriculum department. So between curriculum and instruction and special education, and having that collaborative work together to support our MTSS, our multi-tiered system of support, so that we are engaging with students at an earlier age with interventions and strategies that are supported by data. And from that point on, then if those are not successful, of course, then we want to help look at those evaluations potentially for additional needs through special education programs and services. But we definitely want to do that with using data to help drive our instruction, and then ensuring that we're in the least restrictive environment and we are providing free and appropriate public education for all of our students that have disabilities. Again, I just want to give you a few things we've been working on since I got here in August. I have a whole lot in my head. I look forward to being able to get that out and working with all of our teams and across the disciplines and across our departments. I just want to thank you, and I'm very honored to be here in Ferndale as the Director of Special Ed, and I look forward to being here for many years to come. Thank you. Next up is Tom Shelton.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'll kind of follow Mr. Mays' example, make sure I don't trip over anything or, okay. Tom Shelton, I'm the Director of Human Resources for the district. It's great to be here tonight. And by way of introduction, I'll give you a little background about why I'm so passionate about HR. As many of you know, I was in the district previously in some pretty difficult times, 2014 to 2017, and made the decision to pursue some options outside of the district. December of this past year, of this current school year, I made the decision to come back. And I made the decision to come back very deliberately and for a specific reason, because I loved Ferndale. And the time that I spent here, even though they were difficult years, they were very special years to me, and Ferndale stayed very close to me in my heart. And as I think about leading our human resources department in the district through the coming years and the challenges that we know are ahead of us, that to me is our greatest asset, and that to me is what I would like to foster in our human resources department, that love of this district and that love of the togetherness and the family-like feeling that we have here. So being able to foster that and build that actively leading the human resources department is something that I'm particularly passionate about, and it's one of the things that drove me to come back recently. We do have a couple of our HR team members here tonight, and I'd like to introduce them. Alicia Wilson is in the back. Alicia, stand up so everybody can see your face. Alicia is the HR generalist in our office, and she just joined us in October. Is that right? And she's already doing a stand-up job. My favorite moments with Alicia are the times that we have to just talk about ideas. And, what do you think about, or what if we tried, and just having that kind of environment where we're thinking outside of the box and we really are willing and want to do some different things, to do things differently. So I appreciate that about Alicia. I know that she's going to do great things in the district working in our HR department. I'm also very lucky that I got to speak before Ms. Huntley tonight so that I can claim a little bit of credit for our payroll department. Anita Abner is here tonight. Anita keeps us all paid, which we love. Anita is technically part of the business department and the finance department, but she also works really closely with us in HR. So I'll claim a little bit of credit for Anita. So thank you very much for having us tonight. As you know, when we think about human resources, we think about not just attracting and recruiting, but also retaining the best possible people that we can who are going to be in front of our kids day in, day out in our classroom. And so as I look through the strategic plan and I think about not just what we've accomplished, but also where we're going, that's what's front and foremost in my mind, is how do we make sure we've got the best people possible in front of our kids and not just how we get them there, but how do we keep them there. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit as I go through the couple of points that I pulled out of our strategic plan. So first of all, one of the goal areas within the strategic plan is to recruit, retain, and support a highly qualified, diverse staff with excellence and accountability that's tied to practice and the direction of the district. The two key words that stick out to me in that statement that I think are important for us to keep in mind are making sure that we're attracting a diverse staff and making sure that we are bringing excellence and accountability into our district. That the people that we put in front of our kids represent them and represent what they look like, and also that they bring excellence to that. That we're bringing the best possible people to Ferndale to work with our kiddos. We're looking at new strategies to implement for recruitment opportunities, working with local partner universities. And other strategies to attract new staff here to the district. Another goal area that we've identified is expanding on opportunities that examine, motivate, and ensure physical, mental, nutritional health, and overall wellness for students, families, and staff members. We know that strong relationships is one of our strengths. However, we want to make sure that our staff are healthy and feel productive when they're here with us, and that they feel that they're taken care of by us as a district. So one of the key initiatives that we've launched just in the time since I've been here is going to be unveiled this coming Friday, and that is a new employee assistance program. Through a company called Uliance. And through Uliance, we're going to be offering free support to all of our employees in the district, be that mental health support and counseling that they need, be that financial counseling, even marriage counseling. Those are all services that are going to be available to all of our employees in the district completely free of charge. And we're very proud of that. And I offer that up just as one example of one of the things that we're thinking about and talking about as we try to build wellness and productivity for our employees. We're also looking at other programs that are specifically going to help us streamline how we're welcoming new staff to the district and what process we're following as we bring them in. We call that onboarding in the HR world. And we want to make sure as we interview, as we hire, as we acclimate people to the district, that they feel like we're organized, that they feel like they're welcome here, that they know what's going on, they know where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. So Alicia and I have been working really hard on that onboarding process, and we've already seen some great success from that. So that's just a sample of some of the things we're working on in HR. Again, I'm very pleased to be back here in the district, and I know we're going to do great things going forward. So thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Dawn Huntley, who is in charge of our finance department.
Second time. Okay, here we go. Hello, my name is Dawn Huntley. I've worked in automotive accounting most of my career, but I have been at Ferndale Schools for 9 years now. I started in the as the grant accountant. And then I was the accountant, and now I'm the director of finance, and I've been the director of finance for a little over a year. I'd like to introduce some awesome staff. They make coming to work exciting, and they're really dedicated and hardworking. But Anita Abner, who we've already met, and then does payroll, and then Erin Porteous is our grant accountant, and she's awesome. And then Christian Wright is our new accountant. He started in December. We're very fortunate to have him. And then we also have Linda McChesney, who is our accounts payable specialist, and she's not here. And we have Patty Collins, who's our purchasing analyst, and she's not here. The who, or why I'm here, is, to keep the budget going. And I just want to say to everybody here who is a resident, thank you for paying your taxes, because when we get a big tax bill from one of our municipalities, we're all very excited in the business office. But some things we're proud of are our staff's dedication, and we got a flawless audit with no findings, and it's very hard. That's very hard to because it's a lot of work. Anybody who's been involved with an audit knows. But achieving success requires collaborative efforts across departments, and our team's meticulous follow-ups, perseverance, and tenacity underscore their commitment to excellence. And it really does take all of us and a lot of people at the school working together. We are very proud of the business office's comprehensive training program, equipping staff across the district with the skills needed for budgeting and amendments, managing orders, receiving them, paying invoices timely, to handling time cards and adhering to proper procedures. A robust finance department with dedicated people serves as the backbone of our school district. And then our next steps we have coming up are we're in the process of implementing Questica, which is a budgeting. It's a software to budget your budget, and so once we get that up, it should help. We've started the process, the timeline you saw earlier for our 24-25 budget. We got that going, and then additionally, we're working on Budget Amendment 2, which we will present in June, and then we will have the 23-24 audit coming up as well, because we have it every year. So that's our department in a nutshell. And the next up is Felicia Wright, our assistant superintendent and interim deputy superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Mrs. Huntley mentioned, like, I'm the assistant superintendent. I have so many different titles, but I started here, I'm coming up on a 1-year anniversary. I started April of last year, so I'm very new to the district, and I'm very honored to be here. This is my 24th year actually in school operations, so that's exciting in itself. I lead a division that's encompassing of student transportation that's led by Cheryl Dursky. Also student nutritional services, which is led by our partner Chartwells. The director is Lindsay Torres. Our facility services are provided by a third-party vendor, and our partner is RNA Facility Management. And also we have a maintenance supervisor, Robert Dex. And so I'm really honored and humbled to be able to work with him. But in this interim role of a deputy superintendent, obviously it requires me to touch a lot of different departments and schools, and so I'm honored to have that opportunity to also foster those relationships and moving our work forward. So tonight, continuing with the theme of living our strategic plan, right? I'll share with you some of our objectives, but before that, I just want to shout out the Ferndale community, right? Thank you so much for the 2020 bond, because without you, right, we couldn't have this wonderful space. So the first objective was expand upon the incorporation of relevant instructional and sound technology to support our educational systems. And this environment does that, right? So no longer are students required to sit behind a desk in a stationary position. They have flexible seating like what's in here tonight. We were very intentional in providing that to you. It not only fosters collaboration, it also fosters project-based learning, which is something that we have here in our district, right? Lighting, you see the lighting? Did you notice the lighting, the cool lights? That's something that was very intentional, right, for our students. With respect to technology, we also have incorporated what we call front-end learning environments in all of our schools, elementary schools, lower and upper. And what that is, these interactive boards, we have that in our classrooms. We're looking to expand upon that. We also have speakers that enhance the teacher's ability to be able to communicate with the students. Very proud of that. We've also been able to do with our 2020 bond. We've updated our PA systems. We've updated our camera systems, which was absolutely necessary. Where are we going from here? This summer, I know you've heard about it, right? New lower elementary school will open. Woo! Is Principal Keefe here? Is Principal Keefe here? Okay, all right, it's okay. Okay, that's a shout out to lower elementary school staff. So we are really excited to be able to move into a brand new school building this summer. And again, it's thank you to the community for that 2020 bond. We're also building on an addition to upper elementary school that's going to foster STEAM learning, and that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. At the new lower, we're going to have a STEM lab, and it's a really, really cool space. Once we have our open house, which is coming up soon, ribbon cutting, June fair, all in one, big celebration, soon. I won't announce the date. But you'll be able to walk through the facility and really get a feel for what our children will be afforded in the fall, and our teaching staff. We're really excited. Also this summer, we're looking at, I just want to give you some updates because you're going to see construction work. You already see the earth movers over at Upper that's staged by the park. But we're also going to be building laboratory facilities in every classroom over at FECC, which is Ferndale Early Childhood Center. New parking lot, new marquee. That work is going to start this summer. And then next summer, we're going to focus on this building that we're in right now. We're going to upgrade our laboratory facilities. Each classroom is going to get some modifications, enhancements, and also new parking lot and marquee. We're really excited about that work, but we're going to need help. With our middle school and high school. We want to have these same learning environments in that facility, and so we're looking forward to doing that work later on in the future, okay? All right, next, provide flexible and multi-sensory learning environments through innovation and resources. I already told you about the STEAM lab and the STEM lab. That's where that work lives within our strategic plan. And then next, ensure the implementation of an emergency operations plan. So our school community has done a tremendous job on revising an emergency operations plan. We understand that's a living document. We consider that to be a living document, and we're going to need your help. I'm shouting out to all of the team members and the audience. We're going to need your help in bringing that plan back to the table, and we're going to do some additional work in cooperation with Oakland Schools that's going to help us with that work. Okay? I've been remiss in mentioning that we have a partnership with Oakland Schools that provides all of our IT support. And I want to shout out Andrew Housey. They do a phenomenal job, and they're very responsive to our needs. We want to make sure we mention that. So that's it for me. I didn't tell you why I'm here, right? Why am I here? So I just explained to my neighbor that I'm simply here for children. Right? This is my life's work. 24 years in education, 24 years specifically in operations and educational environments is for children. And it absolutely is to ensure that they have absolutely what they need and that our teachers have what they need to provide their education. So that's why I'm here. Right? So at this time, I want to call all of my colleagues back up to the front, if you don't mind, everyone. We're a good-looking group, right? Simply put, we're gonna move over.
Okay. Okay.
Simply put, why we're here for all of you, and we are so excited about our future.
Thank you. Thank you. So, this is a photo op, y'all, first of all. We wore this on purpose, okay? So this is a photo op, just saying. So this is the end. This is concluding the cabinet's presentation. But I don't know if you've met our principals, but they are awesome. And they're here right now. And I'm going to introduce them in just a second. So the rest of the portion of this evening is floating, connecting, continuing to connect. I hope you made a new friend, or you maybe not met a new friend, but you got your friends here, okay? And I want you to continue to connect. We do have food. Please learn more about each of our buildings. Our district would not be what it is, of course, without our schools and our building leaders. Learn about what is happening. If you thought you heard some amazing things this evening from us, even better out there, okay? So if I could, when I call your name, principals, if you could just please stand. First of all, for Ferndale High School, we have Michael Griffin, who is teamed with her assistant principal, Casey Gregg, as well as Felicia Searles-Powell. For Ferndale Early Childhood Center, Heidi Schmidt. Okay. And she's joined with Miss Rooney. Thank you, Miss Rooney. We have a number of lower elementary friends here who are supporting on behalf of Principal Keith. Raise your hands. Thank you, lower. We have Mr. Eric Bruner, Principal, Ferndale Middle School. Carl Corey, Principal of Tri-County Educational Center. Megan Wilson, Assistant Principal, Tri-County Educational Center. Katie Jeffrey, go ahead, stand, yeah, well, you do a good little babe. Katie Jeffrey, Ferndale Upper. And you've already met the wonderful Margaret Schultz, Assistant Principal, University High School. So again, thank you so much. And just one more, these people standing up here today, those people who just rose their hands, could not do this work without them. I, no question, have the most outstanding team ever, like ever, in the county, in the state. This is a phenomenal team, and I'm just blessed and honored to stand with you, alongside you, and continue this work. So I just want to thank all of you for being here and for doing what you do every day. Thank you. And with that said, please enjoy the food. Please enjoy learning more about all of our school buildings. And thank you so much. Oh, one more thing. Remember the QR codes. This is very important. Please. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you so much.